Hey guys, it's Michelle with Florida Keys Birding. So today we are doing the coolest and rarest finds of fall migration 2022. I'm going to go through all the really awesome birds that I found this year for fall migration. We've pretty much come to a close. There's one more that I need to head over to the Everglades to see. I know they're over there right now, the scissor-tailed flycatchers and the tropical kingbird, and a vermilion flycatcher has also been seen over there. Earliest I can probably get over there is this weekend. So, but we're gonna go through all the other birds that I found so far for fall migration, and there was a lot of great rare finds, and there's even one right at the end that was a first ever find that I saw and reported, that I actually got photos of as well, for Monroe County. So super exciting. All right, so some of these birds I've seen before, but I don't see them very often, and some of these birds were first time ever. So let's get started. So the yellow-throated vireo, this one came through pretty, pretty early in the year, in the season for fall migration. They came through, but these are always, and I actually got quite a few of these. Usually this is one I only see maybe once or twice a season, and this one I got quite a few sightings of the yellow-throated vireo, so that was pretty cool. The next one is the Prothonotary Warbler. This was my first ever sighting. The pictures are not that great, but this is all I got. When I went out to the same tree that afternoon, it wasn't there. I went the next day, it wasn't there. I never saw it again. But this is my first sighting ever of a Prothonotary Warbler. This is not a common warbler to see during migration, so this was super duper exciting, even though it was just like a quick glimpse, but I was really happy to find this bird. So the next one is the Eastern Kingbird. So I don't always get an Eastern Kingbird sighting every year. I've actually only gotten a sighting of one of these one other fall, and then I've seen him once in the Everglades, and that's it. And so this was cool because I saw these guys. I actually saw quite a few of them. I had a few sightings during fall migration. They were probably here for almost a week, about a week. So the first time I ever saw them, they were here only a day, and then that was it. I didn't see them move through at all. So this was cool. This was really cool to be able to see these guys. The gray kingbird is the one that we have plentiful all summer long. They're pretty much everywhere. So, but the Eastern is a more rare sighting for us. So, lots of these guys around. This one is the broadwing hawk. So this one was seen migrating with a bunch of Mississippi kites. That one is going to be in a minute. I'm going to talk about that one. But yeah, this was really cool to find the broadwing hawk. You don't see these a ton, but this was cool. I thought this was exciting because I don't have a lot of good pictures of the broadwing, and I actually got some decent photos of this one. Okay, this one is Orchard versus Baltimore Oriole. I'm really not sure. The photos are really grainy and bad, so I do apologize, but this bird was super far away, really far away, but I got these couple of photos of it. I don't know for sure if it's an Orchard or a Baltimore, so hard to tell, but I'm not gonna give it away. It's a surprise. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Okay, the next one is the Mississippi kite. So this was also a first sighting for me, and an uncommon one for the Keys. It's not super common to see a bunch of these. You don't always get to see one every year. I know that the Hawk Watch does see a few of these, but this was my first time seeing them. And as you can see here, there was flocks, and it was mixed with other broadwings and Mississippi kites and some other hawks migrating. This was also early in migration. And so far, all of these birds that I've gone through, these were early migrants. I mean, like, we're talking about August, September. There was migration for fall this year was really awesome. So definitely makes up for a halfway decent spring migration that we got last year. It was okay. It wasn't as bad as the year before, but it definitely wasn't as good as 2020. Spring of 2020 was, wow, amazing. So let me not get sidetracked. Okay, the next one is the northern waterthrush. This was cool because I've only seen a northern waterthrush maybe like, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe once before this. I mean, and I actually heard them a lot before I actually got pictures of them this season, but they were here coming pretty steady for quite a few weeks. I mean, I was hearing them, I was seeing them, I just couldn't get photos of them. I think I've only, one other time, and that was it. I think I got one photo, and that was it. So here I actually got quite a few photos of these, but I'm only posting 2 here. So yeah, this was really cool to be able to see the northern waterthrush. I got to see him walking around with his little, like they bob the tail constantly. So that's kind of something indicative of this bird for ID and stuff like that. I know the Louisiana is similar, but I think it's a little bit lighter and they look a little bit different. So, but yeah, this was really cool. The next one I got to see was the eastern wood pewee. I usually get only one sighting of these, but I actually got quite a few sightings of these this year. I don't know, I'm telling you, I think it might have been the hurricane, or breeding must have gone really well, or maybe I was just outside more and I was just, I don't know, maybe, because I'm not gonna lie, I did go out a lot during fall migration. I was going out twice a day. Every day. I was going out in the morning early, and then I was going out in the evening until the time changed. So I mean, I was going hard. I was going hard birding. So maybe that's why I saw more, but I don't know. I usually do go out a lot, but yeah, so I got these guys are always pretty cool to see, and I got to see these in the Everglades. I got to see a lot of them in the Everglades this year, near the Southern Glades area. And they were mixed with other birds, which I'm going to talk about. I'll leave it to be a surprise. So these were cool, and I got to hear the call of the pewee, which is pretty neat. You should look it up and listen to what it sounds like. Okay, so this is a red-eyed vireo. I usually get maybe one of these, each year, maybe. Maybe one. I actually don't see these super often, even though they're not way uncommon, but I don't get to see them much, so that's why they made my list. So the black-throated blue warbler, I definitely do get to see these always in spring and fall, but I just really like them, and I thought the cool pictures I got with the berries was cool, and I actually did see way more of these this year than I normally see. So yeah, there was like a lot of black-throated blue warblers this year. I don't know if it's because I found their hiding spot. I was checking out some fig trees, and I mean, I found a lot of birds this year in fig trees. That was like my birding hotspot. Okay, so the next one, this is a Chuck Will's Willow. This is my first and ever time seeing one of these birds. I've never seen a Chuck Will's Willow before. I first thought it was a nighthawk because we have the common nighthawk. And it was early in migration, but I did later identify it to be a Chuck Will's Willow. So this was cool. I mean, and it was literally here for a split second. I mean, I am lucky I got this photo before it flew off because it saw me and it was out of here. So this was deep in the forest. It wasn't just out, wherever. So I was lucky just to see this guy. The next one is the Swainson Thrush. This I have only seen one time before, and the beak, of course, is just a little covered up. He did not like that I was there. I'm lucky I got any photos of him at all. He flew off like immediately, and then I never saw him again after that. So it was cool. I've only seen one of these one time, like I said before, a couple years ago during fall, so that was pretty cool. I do have a better picture from that couple years ago fall migration of this guy, but this was cool to see one because, like I said, I don't get to see these often. Okay, so the next one is the Chestnut sided warbler. if this may be a common warbler to you, but this is my first ever sighting to see one of these, and this is actually not super common in the Keys or in South Florida to see one of these. Apparently some of them do move through, but I mean, they're just not common. This was the only one that I saw, so this is my first and last chestnut-sided warbler, non-breeding of course. I saw this warbler and didn't know what it was. I was like, what the heck is this? It looks like a blue-gray gnatcatcher that somebody spilled highlighter all over its head and back. I know that's funny to say, it's terrible, but that's, I mean, that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, what the heck is this? Is this a gnatcatcher? I don't know. It's just, it was weird. But yeah, this is a really cool, this was a really, really cool find. I was super excited about this one. Okay, so painted buntings, these do move through the Keys. They always do, but they made my list because I saw so many of them this year. It was a surprise to see so many. I usually see a couple at my feeder at the end of migration, maybe one or two, you know, throughout the peak, you know, time of October, mid-October. But these guys, I mean, they were here in droves for weeks. I mean, they were just steady coming for weeks, and I still do have a female or two at my feeders that's been coming daily. So this was really cool. I got some really good photos of these guys. I don't always get good photos of them, so that's why they made my list. Okay, the next one is Merlin. Don't always get to see a Merlin. Usually I get like maybe just one or two sightings of Merlins. Like I said, like this year, last year, and the year before, just a couple sightings of Merlins. So this was pretty cool to see these guys. You don't always get to see them, but I actually saw a lot of Merlins this year, so that was pretty awesome. People do get to see them, but they're not super duper common like some of the other falcons and hawks, like the peregrine falcon. You know, we get tons of those going through the Keys. You may or may not see one, but there's tons of them that move through. And American kestrels, I mean, we've still got a ton of them even now. They're gonna stay in winter here. So the Merlin is a more uncommon one, so that one's pretty cool. White crowned pigeons, I put it on this list not because we don't ever see them, but they are an endangered species, and they are threatened in the Keys. So anytime you do get to see one, it's cool. You don't see them super duper often in the upper Keys, more in the lower Keys you get to see them. But it's always cool. It's always cool to get to see one. I did get to see one in the fall so far, and they usually go back south and they come back more in the summer. You're more likely to see them in spring and summer than you are in the fall and winter down here. So the next one is the Baltimore Oriole. This is a super uncommon fall migrant. I mean, I've only seen the Baltimore Oriole one time before, and it was during spring migration. This year, these Orioles, I got 1 week early migration of Orioles, and then a couple weeks later, I got another whole week, maybe almost 2 weeks of Baltimore Orioles, seeing them every single day when I would go out in the morning in the same area. So this was super exciting, and I had never in the past got good photos of them. So I was really excited this year. I got good photos of the Baltimore Oriole. Super exciting. I mean, I saw so many of them. As you can see, I have a lot of photos here of them. So this was really exciting, kind of like a rare find for me, for Baltimore Orioles in the Keys. And I know a lot of people just don't see them like that. You don't see a lot of them in Florida. This might be common in other states, but in Florida and during migration, this is a rare find. So this was really cool. Okay, so the next one are, there are some rare migrating sparrows that I got to see this year. So apparently all three of these are rare or uncommon to find. The first one, the first picture, is a clay-colored sparrow. This one showed up after Hurricane Ian, along with some other birds. I'm not going to give away the surprise yet, but we'll talk about it when we get down to those birds. But yeah, these guys came after Hurricane Ian. And yeah, so this was cool to find the clay colored sparrow. Yeah, that one was more towards like peak migration that I saw this one. And then it came maybe a couple of days after the other one all the way to the right, which is the white-crowned sparrow. Apparently those sparrows are not even in range here in the Keys. Apparently this is a super rare find. This is not even their range for migration. They're not even really supposed to be here. So I don't know. And these showed up right after the storm. These actually showed up right after that that cold front fallout that we had, that I did the video on about the migration fallout that happened in my area. So that one of those are the ones that showed up. The one in the middle is a lark sparrow, the one down at the bottom middle. That was seen more early in migration. I want to say it was maybe a little bit before Ian. I can't remember when I went to Southern Glades, but yeah, this one showed up. This one was also with some other birds. Yeah, I think we're almost to those. Yeah, whenever I went to the Everglades. So these were actually all pretty rare finds for sparrows. I know sparrows, it's like, oh, who cares about sparrows, right? But I didn't realize that apparently these are very rare to find for the Keys. So and then, like I said, the other one that I found in the Everglades. So yeah, so the Eastern Phoebe, I usually get one a season. I usually do get to see one, but it's, like I said, not super common. It's not like you're gonna see droves of them, like maybe you would see tons of palm warblers, you would see tons of, lots of Cape Mays. I don't know, I always get a lot of Cape Mays, even though people say that they're can be more like rare to see, but I don't know, I always get a lot of them. Maybe I just know where to find them. So, but yeah, the Eastern Phoebe, I saw this one in the Everglades, so that's always a cool one to see. Now this was an exciting find, blue grosbeaks. So the blue grosbeaks were with the Eastern Phoebes, the Eastern wood pewees, and they were also along with that lark sparrow. So these were all in the Everglades near the Southern Glades entrance, right there by the road. They were on the wire and on the barbed wire in that same little forest area. So this was pretty cool. I had actually never I'd seen the female blue grosbeaks, but I never saw the males. You see the blue one in the photo there. Lighting was absolutely terrible that day, so the quality is not the best. But I got pictures of the birds, so that was cool. I only saw blue grosbeaks one time. It was a couple of years ago for fall migration, and I think I got to see them once in spring. So this is also a pretty rare find. So the next one is Indigo Buntings. This is a give or take. You don't always get to see them during fall migration. I've seen them maybe twice in fall migration before this time, but these actually ended up coming from the fallout that we had. So I heard them passing over that night, and then the next morning they were just all over the place. They were everywhere. So, and they continued for a few weeks, and now the little one without the tail. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if like a hawk tried to get it or a cat or something like that, but he was doing just fine. But yeah, he ended up staying. So he's like actually still around here in the forest, and I don't know if his mate that he was with, you see these two up at the top, I don't know if they stayed together, but she might still be here, but I've seen him around even recently, and I've still heard their calls. So I know there's at least maybe like a pair that's still living in the forest. So so this was super cool. I've never seen so many indigo buntings during fall. Like I said, I've maybe seen twice in my entire birding I don't know, career, whatever you want to call it, my birding, hobbying, whatever. Yeah, so this was really, really exciting to see so many indigo buntings. It was a goal. I really wanted to see some this year. I really wanted to get good photos of them this year, and I mean, I got more than I could ask for. Yeah, it was with the cold front and with the fallout after Hurricane Ian. Okay, so this is another one. This is one that came right around when the cold front was moving through. These Tennessee warblers, they also came with that fallout, but they came during the day, and during the night was like the full move through of the cold front where we had the fallout. So they came just that day, during that day right before the major fallout. But I think more fell out because I ended up seeing more after that. This fat one in the corner to the left, that one came with, it was like I was at my office window and suddenly there was maybe 7 or 8 Tennessee warblers going absolutely nuts on my candlestick cassia eating carpenter ants, because there's a bunch of carpenter ants that hang out on top of that plant. And I mean, they were just flitting around everywhere for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then boom, they were gone. I think they ate all the bugs and then they left. So they were going nuts. And this other Tennessee warbler to the right, I actually saw in Miami at A.D. Barnes Park, and there was quite a few that day, and then I saw more after that at Harris Park. So they were definitely around. Okay, the black-throated green warbler. This was super exciting as well. I've only seen 2 in a lifetime, never got good photos. This is like my first time I got a good photo of the black-throated green. This is also like a rare, more rare occurrence. We don't see lots of these. Same with the Tennessee warblers. So the bay-breasted as well. This is also kind of like a rare warbler to see. You don't always get to see one. You're lucky if you get one at all during migration or in your lifetime. So this was cool. I actually saw lots of bay-breasted warblers right before the fallout from the cold front, and then right after even more. I saw one that day, and then after the fallout, I saw a ton. There was tons of them, so I got tons of pictures of the bay-breasted. So that was really cool. The next one is the Downy Woodpecker. This one I got to see first time last year, so this was cool. I got my Downy Woodpecker again this year, so that was super exciting. I always like to see this guy. He makes like a cool little sound. And this was cool, the summer tanager. This one, a lot of people got to see summer tanagers this year. One of them was hanging out in my neighborhood in the same area for probably a little over a week. And this other one I saw at A.D. Barnes, there was a few of them over there as well. So they were kind of all over Miami and the Keys. And this is actually, like I said, not a common bird that you get to see during migration. I mean, you're lucky if you get to see one. I've only seen one summer tanager in my life before this, and it was the male, the full red one. So this was really cool to see. The next one is the Swainson's hawk. So this is actually generally a rare find for Florida in general. But every year I personally have gotten to see the Swainson hawks whenever we get the huge kettles of migrating turkey vultures. They seem to migrate together. I'm not sure why, but it's always around Halloween, either that week before that, like that week of Halloween, or just right after Halloween. We see these huge kettles of turkey vultures just passing over the Atlantic side. I live on the Atlantic side, so I get to see them out of my backyard, and a lot of times there will be a few Swainson hawks migrating with them. So I did get to see them this year. I saw quite a few last year, and a lot of people did get to see them last year. I know the Hawk Watch had quite a few as well, so that was cool. All right, we got 2 left. Save the best for last. So this next one is the one that I told you about that was a first time ever recorded. I was so excited when I saw, I didn't realize what this bird was when I saw it. I misidentified it, and then I ended up going back and I was like, wait a minute, let me double check. So drum roll, it's the Western Tanager. So I thought this was a scarlet tanager. I thought this was a female scarlet tanager because I've seen a scarlet tanager one time in spring. I saw the black wings and the like yellowish bright belly, and I remembered the female that I saw was like a green color with the black wings, and the male was a red color with the black wings. And I was like, oh, maybe, you know, maybe it's a juvenile, maybe it's an immature, maybe it's the lighting, whatever, because this one was bright yellow. I was like, what if it's like a goldfinch? I don't know. It was just kind of like a quick thing, but I got a few good pictures of it. It just flew out in front of me. I was looking at some other bird. I saw this bright yellow flash in my periphery, and I was like, whoa, what is that? So I thought for sure it's a scarlet tanager. But I ended up going back, and with some help, I was able to identify, because of the white wing bars, that it was a western tanager, and that there was no records of a western tanager sighting in the Florida Keys and Monroe County ever. So it was really exciting. My recording made it on the rare bird list for Monroe County, and that was super cool. So I was really excited about that, because that's a once in a lifetime thing. I never thought that I would find a bird that has never been seen in my county ever. I never thought that. So I was super excited. This was the best. This was the cherry on top. Right at the end of fall. This one was seen November 2nd. And last but not least, the ruby-throated hummingbird. So I do get these every year. I get them all winter long. Not everybody gets them though, so that's why I put them on this list, because not everybody gets to see one. Not everybody is lucky enough to have them come through to their feeders. Sometimes you put feeders out, and because of the habitat, because of where you live, for whatever reason, they just don't come. They do like a certain habitat, so I think that's what it has to do with. I'm lucky to live in a neighborhood with a lot of forest and a lot of, you know, areas that they can live, and a lot of people have the plants that they like, and I have a lot of the plants they like too, and I see a couple of other people near my home that put out feeders, so I think that the hummingbirds come here because the habitat is good for them. So I'm lucky in that sense that I get them. So this is cool. Always really great to see these guys, to get good photos of them. I was happy to get some good photos of them this year, and I've got 2 daily visitors. Sometimes they do fight, but I've got 3 hummingbird feeders out this year, so I'm hoping that they won't fight as much. And I did get to see a male for the first time, all the way in the right hand corner. This is a young male just starting to get his throat patch. So I usually only get females, so this was cool. So I'm excited to see this guy actually get the red throat patch. I don't have any photos of a male with the ruby throat, so I'm excited. I'm hoping this guy sticks around and I get to see his throat patch come in. You can kind of see it's spotty. So anyways, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. You know, make sure to subscribe for more birding videos, and join the Facebook group if you want to track spring migration with us this year, birding news in South Florida and the Keys, where to find birds and all that good stuff. Everything is in the description, all my other info. You know, we've got some bird merchandise as well that I've just started putting out, you know, some cool stuff that I came up with. So take a look at everything, and continue to follow. I hope you guys thought these finds were cool. I thought that they were, and these are my rarest and coolest bird finds for fall migration. Thanks. Have a great night.